Ettan gästar ikväll Kristallsalongen i Köpenhamn, Tivoli. Och varför är vi här då? Ja, vi har inte fått så här mycket blommor. De har Marlene Dietrich fått. Hon har sjungit här i 14 dagar. Och Sven, det här är på något sätt lite spännande.
Ja, för det visar sig att det här är den första intervjun i TV någonstans som Marlene Dietrich har beviljat, och det är som du säger spännande. Jag kan väl säga det att det har varit rätt intressanta och givande förhandlingar innan den här intervjun blir av.
De här blommorna har Marlene Dietrich alltså fått för en kvart sedan ungefär. Publiken har lämnat. Hon har gjort 2 enormt bejublade föreställningar ikväll med en liten kort paus emellan. Många sånger, Sentimental Journey, Honeysuckle Rose, engelska och franska och tyska. Och som sagt, vi väntar bara på att hon ska komma in efter en liten andningspaus i sin loge. Very welcome to the Swedish television via Copenhagen, and thanks for a wonderful show tonight.
Thank you very much.
You've been here in Copenhagen for a fortnight, and the audience has just been... Ooh, how does it feel? How does it feel just now, 1 hour after?
It's wonderful. I've come here many times and hope I will come back again.
What are your next plans? Is it London, the first big thing you're doing?
The first concert is in London, yes.
That
and
is
the
a
next
special
one,
thing, isn't it, London?
Yes, it's a charity thing.
Yes.
And then I go to Washington to sing at the Kennedy Center. And then I go on a tour in America.
Will that be next year or this year?
No, this is all this year.
You just sang Sentimental Journey
Yes.
tonight. May I have a Sentimental Journey question back to you?
Yes.
People say, and we know that one director meant a lot to you.
Yes.
Josef von Sternberg. And would you please tell us about how it all began and how it was working with? How did it begin?
Well, it all began that he came to Germany. He was asked by Emil Jannings to direct the film The Blue Angel. And he came over there and he looked at all the actresses and he didn't like them. I mean, they did not answer his idea of that particular person. And he went to look at all the shows that were playing in Berlin at the time. And he went to one play where Albers, you know, who played in the film, and Rosa Valetti were playing. And I also happened to be in that particular play, except I had only one sentence.
You remember the sentence?
That's all I had to say, in one sentence, yes. And he saw me there and he asked the company to call me in the morning, and he made me come there. And I couldn't understand it. I thought, I know the book, but there is no small part in it at all for a woman. And I couldn't understand why they asked me to come.
You were still a student then?
Yes. And I had a small part in the play, as I told you, but in order to get accustomed to be on the stage, we were sent to play small parts in all sorts of theaters. And so when I came to see him, and I said to him, I don't know why you called me, because I don't know a small part in this film. And he said, it's the main part. And I got up, I said, oh, that's not for me, I think you're wrong. Well, he said, sit down and you're going to play the part. Well, I didn't think I would ever do that, you know. I never thought I could play this part at all. And he fought the entire UFA of Berlin. Everybody. He fought Jannings, he fought everybody.
What did Jannings say?
Jannings didn't want me at all, no.
But he changed his mind?
No, he never changed his mind.
You had a fight with Jannings in the film,
no,
didn't you?
No, I never fight with anybody. I mean, in the part, you mean, in the
Yeah,
role.
yes, I
in
mean
the
the
role,
role,
yes,
yeah.
that's different.
Mm.
But in person, I never fight, no.
What did von Sternberg mean to you? Did he have the ability of getting everything out of you as an actress?
No, I don't know. He just told me what I should do.
All directors do that.
All directors do that, but he was the very first director I had, so naturally I did exactly what he wanted me to do. And I don't think that I ever thought I was very good.
You made 6 films in America with von Sternberg.
That's right.
Which was the best of these
I
6?
think Devil is a Woman. I like that best. It was not a success in America, but now everybody considers it a classic. But at that time, it was not a success.
I have a quotation here from one of the many experts who have been analyzing you, and it says, von Sternberg knew how to tap her apparently inexhaustible ability for hard work. Isn't that poetry?
Well,
Is it true?
It's true that I work hard, yes. I can work hard. And I worked hard most of my life, yes. And I like to work hard. I don't mind it at all.
At the time, both UFA and Paramount wanted you. Why did Paramount win?
Well, UFA didn't want me.
Well, there was a contract on its way or something.
No,
They were
there was
hesitating.
no, nobody was hesitating. There was a contract with an option
Yes.
after the Blue Angel, and they did not pick up the option. They didn't want me.
Did that hurt you?
No. How could it hurt me? Not at all.
The Blue Angel, when you had that success, when did you know about it? The morning after?
The morning after, I was on the ship going to America. I left Berlin the night of the opening night. And I was on the ship and I got cables. And they said that I had a big success, which I never thought I would have. You know, I wasn't starred in the film, you know that. Oh, you don't know that.
I do.
You don't know that. I wasn't starred in the film. It said Emil Jannings in the Blue Angel, and then there came all the names of all the actors, and then I was on the bottom of the list. Now everybody thinks I was starred in the film, but I wasn't.
But I remember it in Stockholm. I saw you on the posters.
On the poster, well, they did those later, but in the beginning I wasn't ever.
That's what I mean. They must have done them very soon
Later,
after.
yes. That all was after the success. You see, it's easy. It's very easy to applaud somebody after the success. It's very difficult to know ahead of time.
Sternberg
Like
did.
Mr. von Sternberg, yes.
You're leaving Berlin on the very same night of your premiere. Was that sort of a gesture?
No, it just
It
happened.
just happened. The boat happened
You know,
to
the
leave.
boats didn't leave all the time, and I had accepted to go to America. And I just had to leave. You know, you had to go by train first to the coast and then take the boat.
And now, as a German girl, you were in Hollywood. Give us Hollywood in a nutshell, the way it appeared to you at the time.
Well,
Big,
you know, I was very young and very dumb, like all young people are. And I didn't really understand it all very well, but I was there and I worked and I did the best I could, but I did not know really Hollywood as people think of Hollywood. I never saw that kind of Hollywood.
How did you live during the first months
I had a house, a little house.
from the start?
And then, but the first year I went there alone. I didn't take my child with me because I didn't know if I was going to stay. Because I had a contract that said that if I didn't like America, I could go back after a year. So I didn't take her with me. And then afterwards I decided that I was going to stay there, and I brought her over.
Which actors from that period do you remember best?
The actors.
Which actors do you remember?
Which actress?
Actors or actors?
Well,
From the early Hollywood period.
well, Garbo just had made the first talking picture. You see, I was not there during the silent days. I was only there during the talking.
Well, immediately after they had started, yes.
Yes, she had just made her first talking film. So naturally, you all loved Garbo.
You mentioned Garbo, of course. Talking to Swedish audience, the Swedish audience would like to know. Were you competitors?
No. Nobody was ever a competitor.
Is that
Not
true?
with Garbo, no.
Oh.
No. No. She's a unique person, and nobody ever attempted to be a competitor.
Did you know her?
No.
Personally?
No, I did not.
You did meet her?
No.
Never?
No.
I mean, at a ball or something?
Oh, boy, she didn't go
No,
out,
she
and I
didn't.
didn't go out, so
No.
how could we meet?
People say that Hollywood used to recreate persons. I mean, people coming to Hollywood, they were, in a way, made to fit in a certain pattern. Is that true?
No, I don't think so. I think all the actresses that changed there, they wanted to change.
Mhm.
Nobody ever asked me to change or do anything differently than I wanted to do. I think it's a good excuse, to say Hollywood did this to me. But I don't think they did.
But Sternberg did this to you.
Well, he didn't change me. He just put me into a certain frame that he thought was successful. But he didn't change me, no.
Was he a brilliant man?
Brilliant man, yes.
You said, I won't do any films without Sternberg, you said after the
I
first
said
one.
that, yes, and I had a contract
Mm.
that said so too. But then he wanted me to work with somebody else. And he picked Mr. Mamoulian. And I made a film with him called The Song of Songs.
And then you went back, I believe,
Then,
to
yes,
Sternberg
and then he
for
decided to
another-
make another film with me. That was The Devil is a Woman. John Despasses wrote the script.
But we shouldn't forget that the Germans have asked you to come back then after this. After those successes, you had offers from Berlin, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, and what happened to those?
Well, Hitler was there by that time,
Mm.
and I didn't want to go back.
Really, what were the offers? Could you quote them?
Oh, the offers were wonderful, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to go back while he was there.
You went to England instead before the war, 37, 38, something like that.
Well, before the war, I was in Hollywood.
Yes, and England.
I worked until the outbreak of the war. And then I joined the American Army,
Yes, which must have been
and I
very
stayed with the
important.
Army 4 years.
Tell us.
And I only made films after the war. But up to the war, I worked in Hollywood.
We've seen pictures from those army years. This seemed to be a sort of fantastic
Yes, it was a
area.
wonderful time, yes. It was a hard time. It wasn't easy. But it was wonderful.
You were in Africa, you were in Greenland, you were all over.
Yes, I went first to Africa, Sicily, Italy, and then we went into Rome. I went to Anzio. I played in Anzio quite a while, and we were stranded there. We couldn't get into Rome, and then we finally went in. And then I went back to America because I had to get other people to play with me because not everybody wanted to stay out so long. And then I went to Greenland, Iceland. We went over England, went from England to France, and the front was then near Namur, which the Americans used to call Namur, toujours l'amour. And once it was the front, and once it was not the front, and we went backwards and forwards. And then came the bulge, which you know of. And anyway, it's that particular European war ended, as you know, in May 45. But the Japanese war was still on, so I went back to America. But the war in Japan ended before I could ship over there.
How did you live? As a soldier?
Yes, we were simple soldiers.
You had no
We
rank?
had no grade, no. We only had a grade in case of capture.
Uh-huh.
We were captains. And I always thought it was rather silly. We should have been generals, no? Because it was only a matter of money or how they treated you in case of capture. Naturally, we were all very much afraid of capture. I was, very much so.
You were the German-born American citizen. who
That's
did
right.
This
Hmm.
thing.
And they would have shaved my head, and I don't know what they would have done to me.
Were you
I was
really-
more afraid of that than of the bombs or the guns or artillery.
Did they keep it a secret where you were? Of course, they couldn't
Oh,
tell
yes.
it. Oh, they did.
Yes. Yes, but we were up front, and
Yes.
anybody would have known if they caught us.
Then you, after the war, you went on filming. Was it a new atmosphere? How was it working?
No. In America, there wasn't a new atmosphere at all. They just went back to normal. I did a film called Golden Earrings with Mr. Mitchell Lyson. And then afterwards, I did a film with Mr. Billy Wilder called Foreign Affair.
And then around, say, 57, 58, you took this almost full step from the screen to a stage like this.
Yes, I did. Hmm.
This must have been a very serious and important decision for you.
No, it wasn't. At that time, it wasn't. It was just demand and supply. They asked me, and I said no
who asked
first.
you first?
Las Vegas.
Yes.
And first I said no, and then they kept on asking me, and finally I weakened. And I did it in Las Vegas, and I loved it from the very first time I did it. But at that time, you know, I didn't sing any serious songs. I was just entertaining everybody and being beautiful, something like that.
Isn't that? You said I wasn't singing any
Serious.
big serious songs. I mean, just beautiful.
I wasn't.
Isn't that enough? Isn't that big artistry?
Well, I don't think so. I think I'm much better now.
Yes. But
I sing serious songs, and I think I have learned a lot in all that time.
Does Burt Bacharach come into that picture?
No, Burt Bacharach joined me much later.
Yes, but I mean,
And then
he
I
is
stayed
in the
with him.
picture
Oh,
of
yes.
you as a stage artist. of
Sure,
course.
he did all my orchestrations. All the songs I sing now have been orchestrated by him.
All the songs we heard tonight.
Yes. Hmm. They're all his orchestrations.
You have met so many different publics all over the world. You've been traveling all over the world's greatest cities. Which public do you like best?
Well, I tell you what, it's a very funny thing, but the further north you go, the warmer the people get. People always think that the Latins are the South people are warmer. It isn't true at all.
When you come to Kiruna on the Arctic Circle, welcome.
Haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
But I've found, for instance, the Scandinavian people very warm, and the Northern England people, naturally the English audiences are the best, but it's not at all true that the further south you go, that the people are more enthusiastic there. I mean, I've been in South America where they scream and yell and all that. Been in Australia, which is a very interesting country. I've played in Adelaide and in Sydney and Melbourne, and I've been in Israel twice now. I've been in Poland twice. I've been in Russia. And I've been in Japan.
Russia, Poland, could you specify what was the reaction there?
Oh, absolutely terrific. They didn't know my films, you know, because they were forbidden in Germany, so they never got them there. But that didn't hinder them at all, because you see, the Russians are very well organized. I mean, they asked me for all the words of the songs many months before I went there. And they translated all the words, and everybody who came into the theater could read the words. Now that took a lot of work, but this way they could understand what I was doing. And the theaters are so beautiful in Russia that, you know, it just breaks your heart. They're so beautiful. The Pushkin Theater in Leningrad, it's just to die. And the trains we traveled in, you know, it's like Anna Karenina, all red plush and girls that bring the tea, and it's just beautiful. And they have such capacity for passion, you know, they love you if they love you.
You love going back there?
Oh yes, I always go back. I always go back to the places I like.
When you come to
what about
Sweden?
Germany? Sorry, what about Germany?
Well, I didn't go back to Germany. I was in Germany once in 1960. But
Were you
it wasn't...
unhappy with the audience or unhappy
No,
with...
the audiences are wonderful. It's the press that's bad. And, you know, they put bombs in the theater, and who wants to be bombed at this time?
I've noticed many Germans here outside in
Oh,
Tivoli.
no,
They
the
come
German
and speak to
audience
you,
is
they want you
wonderful.
there.
It was just the press that just didn't like me.
Have you many friends in Sweden?
Well, I have lots of friends, I hope.
I mean, personal or more intimate friends?
Personal friends, yes. I have very many actors, I have directors, and I have, I can't call him a friend, I just adore him and admire him, Ingmar Bergman.
Do you like to work with him?
I
Should
would
you like
love to, but I don't think he ever would take me.
Why?
Well, because I don't think I would fit into his films. I think
in plain words, you wouldn't be good enough, or what?
No, I don't think I would be right, because, I mean, he's the star of the film. I don't think a very well-known face would fit into his films. I don't think so.
What do you think of his films?
Wonderful. I know them all by heart.
You're very humble, Miss Dietrich, when you speak
Well,
about
yeah, that's
Ingmar
one of
Bergman.
my good qualities.
Which are your other good
My
qualities?
other good qualities. Well, I'm patient, and I'm disciplined, and I'm good. I think I'm good. Good,
Your heart.
yeah. I think I am.
Are you ever impatient? Just now, for example?
Well, I'm patient, yes. Sometimes I'm impatient. I'm impatient with stupidity. If people don't know their jobs, I do get impatient, yes. But I think that's right to get impatient. I think if somebody wants to do a job, he should know about it. Or he should go home and do something else.
Name a director who knows his job. Who is your favorite director?
Well, after
In late
Mr. von
years.
Sternberg,
Yes,
Orson Welles.
tell us.
Orson Welles is a great director, great actor, wonderful man.
Lots of humor.
Yes, writer, everything. He's complete.
Is he also your favorite actor?
Yes, but I have other favorite actors. I have Paul Scofield, whom I love and adore. And the greatest actor, to my mind, is dead naturally. It's Gérard Philippe, whom I love very much. Nowadays, there aren't so many great actors anymore. I mean, there are in England only. I don't think there are in France, or there are in America.
What could be the reasons? Don't they learn?
No,
Don't they work?
no, I think
as
it's
hard
just
as-
the way it works, that suddenly there's no coming up crop of people. But in England, they still do, because they still work. You see, in America, they don't work. They sit on the phone, and if it doesn't ring, they're offended. there are no schools there really to work like they do in England.
As a 10-year-old Berlin girl, you must have had dreams and ambitions. Have these dreams come true and the ambitions
No,
been
I
fulfilled?
never had much ambition, no.
As a child?
I
you
never,
mean,
no. I was brought up to do my duty, and that was about the gist of it.
Duty
you
to
know.
your parents or duty
Duty
to
to,
school,
no,
etc.?
duty to school, duty to everybody, duty to the world, to the principles you stand for.
A very German bringing up, would you say? Or
I think it's German. I do not know, but I think the British are very much brought up the same way.
But you,
Yes.
at home you learned apparently working discipline. I mean, to
Yes,
respect.
yes, and also not to pay too much attention to yourself. You
You
see,
now
we were
make your-
taught that
sorry.
we were not important.
really?
Yes.
Who was? Mother and father were important?
No,
or,
we were taught that you are nobody and you just better work hard and make good, because your troubles are not important. So it was very good upbringing. I must say it helped me very much all during my life. Because if you pay too much attention to yourself, I don't think you can help many people.
Does that mean that you never sat down in a corner and cried?
No. Not about myself. I cried about other people, yes.
Where do
But
you make
about
your
myself.
home? Where do you make your homes now? Is it
My home?
mainly
I live in
Paris
New
or
York.
mainly New York?
I live in New York and I also live in Paris sometimes, yes.
You love France in a very special way, don't you?
Ah, yes, I have a very special love for France. That's nobody can explain. I can't either.
You speak French as good as...
No, it's just my childhood, I think, also, yes. See, I had French and English governesses, and I always loved the French language very much. And so my heart sort of was half in France, even when I was a child. And when the war broke out and they were our enemies, I was desperate because I couldn't understand it.
To conclude, what makes you tick, Miss Dietrich?
That's
Is
a
it
very
work,
funny
is it-
expression.
Is it work, money, or leisure, or really
I
what
work.
make you going?
What
Really?
makes me work, you mean?
What make you tick? I mean, get going. Feel now. I like to
Well,
do this.
energy. I have to do a job and I do it.
That's
And if
good.
I've accepted the job, I better do it well.
Don't you have to have inspiration?
Inspiration, yes, I do get it from, like for instance, Mr. Backrack helped me a lot. And I get a lot of inspiration from good musicians that I work with. Like for instance, Mr. Chick Lovell, who plays the guitar for me, and Mr. Andy White, who plays the drums, and they're always with me. And Mrs. Lovell, who's always with me, who never leaves me.
Thank you very much for coming to us on behalf of the Swedish television. Thank you,
Thank you.
Ms. Dietrich.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much indeed.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.